After our divorce, my ex-husband kicked me out with nothing. I tried to use the old card my deceased father had left me. But the teller's face drained. He yelled, "Ma'am, quickly see this." I was left speechless as I uncovered that. Can you believe it? My husband threw me out, literally kicked me to the curb and handed over everything we owned to his mistress. I was left with nothing but a tattered old debit card my father gave me years ago. A card I thought was completely useless. But that forgotten piece of plastic? It held a secret so powerful, it made the bank manager tremble with fear. You won't believe what happened next. I was bone-tired. 2 weeks in rural Alabama, nursing my critically ill mother back to health. All I wanted was the comfort of my luxury penthouse in Buckhead, Atlanta, and of course my husband Kwesi. Dragging my small suitcase, I finally reached the 30th floor of the Sovereign. A smile touched my lips, even though exhaustion was gnawing at me. I was home. But then the key fob for my apartment, our apartment, flashed red. Access denied. I frowned, tried again. Still denied. Strange, I mumbled, figuring it was demagnetized. I rang the doorbell twice. A moment of silence, then footsteps, a soft click, and the heavy door swung open. There stood Kwesi. But it wasn't my Kwesi. His eyes were cold, distant. He was wearing a silk robe and a fresh, bright red lipstick mark stained his neck. My blood ran cold. "Ah, you're back already," he said, and it wasn't a welcome. My heart seemed to stop. "Kwesi, why isn't my key working?" My voice was a whisper, trembling. "Because I changed the locks," he replied, still blocking the entrance. Then from inside, a woman's crystal-clear laughter rang out. "Babe, who is it? If it's a solicitor, tell them to kick rocks." A young, stunning woman, much younger than me, appeared over Kwesi's shoulder. My stomach dropped. It was Aita, a local Instagram model, and she was wearing my silk robe, the one I'd bought myself for our wedding anniversary. Aita's eyes swept over me, from my simple travel clothes to my tired face, my worn-out suitcase. A mocking smirk spread across her face. "Oh," she said, "it's not a solicitor. Turns out it's the ex-wife." Ex-wife. "Kwesi, what is this?" The words barely left my lips. A stinging burn filled my eyes. Who is she? Why is she in our house? Why is she wearing my clothes? Kwesi just sighed like I was some trivial nuisance. "Listen, Zelika, this is over. We'll talk downstairs. Don't make a scene here." He stepped out, closing the door behind him, leaving Aita's smug smile etched in my mind. He didn't say a word as we rode the elevator down. I was petrified, my brain unable to process what was happening. Aita's expensive perfume still lingered faintly on Kwesi's robe, a cruel reminder. The elevator chimed, opening into the busy lobby. People looked at us. I felt exposed. Kwesi led me to a secluded corner by a window overlooking Peachtree Road. I followed like a robot. "Kwesi," I demanded, my voice barely audible. "Explain this to me." "What's there to explain?" he said, his voice ice cold. "It's not clear. You and I are done. Finished. Just like that. After 10 years. After I cared for his mother after her stroke? After building everything with him from ground zero?" He let out a cynical laugh. "Building with me? Don't be ridiculous, Zelika. I'm successful thanks to my hard work. You're just a burden. Especially after you spent so much time with your mama in that country town, you forgot your duties as a wife." "Pie duties?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Yes. Look at you." He pointed at me with disgust. Disheveled, unkempt. "I'm a major developer. I need a partner on my level, not a housewife like you." My jaw dropped. The man in front of me was a complete stranger. "Aita, it's been going on this whole time?" "Yeah, we've been together a year," he said without a shred of guilt. "And she understands me much better." Suddenly, a security guard approached, pushing a small, tattered duffel bag. It was the same bag I'd used when we first moved to Atlanta years ago. Kwesi threw it at my feet and some old clothes and a wallet spilled out. "Those are your things. The rest I threw out," he said, then tossed a brown envelope onto the bag. "Those are the divorce papers. I've already signed them. Inside is a settlement. All the assets, this penthouse, the cars, the company, everything is in my name. You came into this marriage with nothing. You leave with nothing." The tears finally escaped. This wasn't just humiliation. It was annihilation. You can't do this." "Oh, I can. And I already have. His eyes were ice. Sign those papers. If you behave yourself and don't claim marital assets, maybe I'll be generous and give you cash for a Greyhound bus ticket back to your little town in Alabama. People in the lobby started whispering. I felt naked, exposed. Get out. Quasi hissed. But this is my home too. Not anymore, he shouted. Security. 2 guards approached. They looked uncomfortable, but they were clearly on Quasi's side. I'm sorry, ma'am. Please don't make a scene, one said, gently grabbing my arm. I was dragged out by force. I looked back, desperation in my eyes. Quasi, please. He just looked at me blankly, then turned and walked away. Up above, I saw Anaya's silhouette watching from the mezzanine railing, a picture of victory. The heavy glass door of the lobby hissed shut behind me, severing me from the last 10 years of my life. I was on the busy sidewalk under a darkening Atlanta sky, with only a duffel bag of old clothes and divorce papers that mocked my existence. Night fell quickly. Street lights flickered on, but my world was dark. I walked aimlessly, the honking traffic a roar in my ears. Nowhere to go. My mother was still recovering. I couldn't burden her with this. My feet led me to Centennial Olympic Park. I sat on an empty bench, staring at the city lights. My stomach growled. I hadn't eaten all day. The aroma of barbecue and fried catfish wafted from nearby restaurants, making my hunger ache even more. People laughed, young couples walked hand in hand. I felt like a ghost. I opened the wallet Quasi had thrown at me. About $10 in cash. Not enough for anything. My phone battery was at 5%. I rushed to open my mobile banking app for our joint account. Balance. 0. He'd cleaned me out, every dollar, even my pre-marriage savings. A cold, heavy despair wrapped around me. This was it. Rock bottom. I'd be homeless tonight. Tears fell silently. I looked at the wallet again. Behind a card slot, a faded photo of my father. Tendai Okafor, a simple tobacco farmer and merchant who died 10 years ago just before I married Quasi. And behind that photo something else. My trembling fingers pulled it out. A faded blue debit card peeling at the edges. The logo was barely legible. Heritage Trust of the South. I was stunned. I remembered. My father gave me this card when I was 17, heading to Spelman for college. Keep this, my baby girl, he'd said, his voice soft but firm. This is an account Papa created for you. Never use it unless it is absolutely necessary. Don't mix it with money for your expenses. Imagine it doesn't exist. How much is in it, Papa? I'd asked, curious. He just smiled mysteriously. Enough to be an anchor. If you ever feel like your ship is going to sink, use this. But as long as you can sail, don't touch this anchor. I never used it. I forgot about it. College, then Quasi building his empire. I always thought it held a few $100s, maybe leftover allowance. But tonight my ship wasn't just sinking. It was blown to pieces. I held the card tight. $10 wasn't enough for anything. But maybe this anchor would be enough for a bus ticket back to Alabama. A small hope, thin as a thread, flickered in my chest. I didn't sleep all night. I huddled under a shop awning, clutching my duffel bag, waiting for morning. Dirty, hungry, scared, but that faded card felt warm in my hand. At 8 a.m. I was standing in front of the Heritage Trust of the South Branch downtown. Exactly as I remembered it from childhood visits. An old stone building anchored in the past, a stark contrast to Quasi's modern glass and steel banks. Inside it was quiet. Only 2 tellers, 1 customer service desk. The smell of old paper and dust. I took a number. I was the only one. A young man in a white shirt, Kofi, called me over. Good morning, ma'am. How can I help you? He was polite, though his eyes betrayed confusion at my disheveled appearance. Good morning, I croaked. I want to check the balance, but the card is very old. I've also forgotten the PIN. I handed over the faded blue card. Kofi took it, frowning. Wow, ma'am. This card is ancient. This is our old logo. Can it still be used? I asked anxiously. I'll check. He took my ID matching the name Zelika Okafor and started typing. The system seemed slow. He typed, clicked, and frowned again. Huh, that's strange, he murmured. What's wrong? My heart pounded. The data isn't coming up directly, ma'am. Our legacy system is sometimes a little slow. It seems this account is in an inactive or dormant state. How long has it been since there were transactions? Maybe 10 years, I replied hesitantly. Kofi's eyes went wide. 10 years? One moment, ma'am. I'm going to try accessing the manual server. His fingers danced. The screen flickered green code. Silence. Only the keyboard and the noisy AC. I bit my lip. It's over, I thought. The account must be closed. The money lost. Kofi scratched his head. How odd. The balance isn't reading, ma'am. But there is a sort of flag. An alert on this account. A high-level alert. Alert? Does that mean I have debt? I panicked. No, not debt. I've never seen a code like this. One moment, ma'am. He typed a series of commands. The computer thought for a moment. Then something appeared on Kofi's screen. His relaxed face suddenly went pale. His eyes opened wide, glued to the monitor. Mr. Kofi? I called out. He didn't answer. He seemed frozen, rereading the screen, mouth slightly open. He swallowed hard. Suddenly, he stood up so fast his chair flew backward, screeching loudly. Mr. Zabari. Mr. Director. Kofi's voice was shrill, shattering the bank's silence. He didn't care about me anymore. His eyes were still glued to the screen with horror. Mr. Zabari, the middle-aged branch manager with a stern look, stepped out of his office. What is it, Kofi? Don't shout like that. There are customers, he scolded. I'm sorry, sir, but you have to see this. Kofi pointed at the screen with a trembling hand. Account in the name of Zelika Okafor. Inheritance from her father, Tendai. Mr. Zabari sighed, annoyed, and walked to Kofi's desk, preparing to lecture him. He glanced at the screen and then he froze. His professional, rigid face crumbled instantly. His expression changed from annoyance to confusion, then to a deathly pallor. He looked at the screen, then at me, then back at the screen. Ma'am. Mrs. Zelika Okafor? He asked, his voice now trembling. Yes, sir, I whispered, scared. What's wrong? Was my father a criminal? Kofi. Mr. Zabari ordered. Close your window quickly. Put up the closed sign. Take Mrs. Zelika to my office right now. Don't let anyone see this screen. The order was so urgent, so full of panic, I jumped. Kofi, stuttering, immediately put up the closed sign and turned off his monitor. Come with me, ma'am, he said, treating me with immense respect, almost fear. In Mr. Zabari's cramped office, the door was locked instantly. He paced for a moment, then sat, his hands shaking slightly as he turned on his desk computer. Excuse me, ma'am. You caught us by surprise, he said. Actually, what is happening, sir? Did my father leave a huge debt? I asked, on the verge of tears. Debt? Mr. Zabari let out a nervous chuckle. No, ma'am. Far from it. He turned his computer monitor towards me. Kofi, standing silently, pointed at the screen, holding his breath. Ma'am, look at this quickly. The screen didn't show a balance in dollars. It showed an ownership structure diagram. Ma'am, Mr. Zabari said, his voice low with astonishment. This account is not a normal savings account. This is a master account connected to a limited liability company, a corporation. I frowned. Corporation LLC? Correct. Called Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. This company was founded by your father, Tendai Okafor, in 1998 and was left inactive exactly 20 years ago. But my father was just a tobacco salesman. That is what he wanted people to know, ma'am, Mr. Zabari interrupted. Your father seems he wasn't just a salesman. He was a land broker, a genius one at that. He clicked on a tab. List of assets. Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. Mr. Zabari read the contents. It is the legal owner of 2,000 acres of pecan groves and farmland in South Georgia, all under this deed. The sole ownership was transferred completely to you as the heir with a special clause. What clause? I whispered. This company activates automatically, and all its assets become accessible to the heir, only if the heir accesses this master account in a desperate situation, or if the balance of their personal account is zero. My jaw dropped. My father, he had predicted this. I looked at the rows of numbers on the screen. Not savings figures but land acreage. I didn't faint. I didn't scream with joy. I just sat up straight. The hunger, the exhaustion, the humiliation of the last 24 hours evaporated. They were replaced by something else, something cold, sharp, and incredibly strong. I remembered Kwesi's mocking face. I remembered Anaya's victory smile. Mr. Zabari, I said, my voice calm and cold, surprising even myself. Yes, ma'am. How do I activate this company right now? Mr. Zabari looked at me with concern. My reaction was totally unexpected. I wasn't crying, not screaming with joy. My eyes, swollen from crying all night, now hardened, staring at the screen with terrifying focus. Mr. Zabari, I repeated, my voice steady. What do I need to activate this? He stuttered. Technically it is already active, ma'am. As soon as you access this account with a null personal balance, the clause was fulfilled. Our legal team managing the trust. Well, they are already waiting for your instructions. Kofi promptly poured a glass of water and placed it in front of me. I didn't drink it. My father Tendai. What else do you know about him? Mr. Zabari opened a drawer, pulling out a thick, dusty folder. Your father was a priority client long before the term private banking existed. He left this, a letter and legal documents. He said, this can only be opened by my daughter, or by us if she has accessed the account. He handed me a yellowed envelope. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside, a sheet of paper neatly handwritten. To my baby girl Zelika, if you are reading this, it means there are two possibilities. First, Papa is no longer here and you are ready to start your own life. Second, life hasn't gone according to your plans. Papa was a salesman. It's true. But Papa also knew that this world isn't always fair to good black women like you. I saw how they treated your mother. Papa kept a small anchor for you, not to spoil you, but to ensure you have options when you feel cornered. Papa designed the desperate clause on purpose. I know you are smart, but your heart is too soft. I was afraid. If you had wealth, you would attract the wrong man. And if you didn't have wealth, you would be oppressed by the wrong man. Papa failed in one thing. I hope you never need to read this letter. But if you read it, remember Papa's message. Don't cry. Don't get revenge with tears. Build your own kingdom, my child. Make them regret it. The anchor has been dropped. Now sail, baby girl. The tears I'd been holding back finally fell. But they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of understanding. My father, the simple salesman, had seen the future. He had seen Kwesi decades before Kwesi even existed. I wiped my tears with the back of my hand. I looked at Mr. Zabari. I need 3 things, I said. What things, ma'am? First, cash. I don't have a dime. Of course, Kofi, prepare a cash withdrawal from the operating account, Mr. Zabari said. Second, I continued, I need a place to stay temporarily, a secure hotel far from the sovereign apartments. That can be arranged. We have corporate rates with secure hotels. Third, and this is the most important, I leaned forward. I need all the financial data of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. And I need a recommendation for the best business restructuring consultant, not from around here. I want someone from the Midtown Financial District, someone who doesn't know Kwesi. Mr. Zabari was stunned for a moment, impressed by the composure of the woman who 30 minutes ago looked like she was homeless. I know a name, Mr. Zabari said. They nicknamed him the Cleaner. Very expensive, very cold. His name is Siku. Good, I said. Give me the money, book me the hotel, and organize my meeting with Siku. I didn't stay at the hotel Mr. Zabari booked. That was my first step, not being predictable. After taking a considerable amount of cash, enough to make me dizzy if it had been yesterday, I bought a new phone, a new number, and several sets of simple but clean clothes at a nearby mall. Then I booked a room at the St. Regis, one of Atlanta's most luxurious hotels, under a fake name. For 24 hours I locked myself in. Ordered room service, ate my first decent meal, took a hot bath, and slept. I let my brain process the destruction and rebirth in a single day. The next morning I didn't call Siku. I knew someone like him wouldn't be impressed with a phone call. I went to the financial district in Midtown. Siku's office was in one of the skyscrapers. Minimalist, cold, all glass and steel. In my new clothes, simple but neat, contrasted with the setting. I want to see Mr. Siku. I don't have an appointment, I told the receptionist. Mr. Siku is busy, ma'am. His schedule is full for the next 2 months. Tell him, I said calmly. Zelika Okafor, owner of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC, Assets of 2,000 acres. This is urgent. The receptionist hesitated, but the words 2,000 acres made her pick up the phone. 5 minutes later, I was ushered into a corner office with a view of all of Atlanta. Siku was a black man in his mid-30s. He didn't smile. He wore a dress shirt with no tie, but looked more formal than Kwesi ever did in his suits. His eyes were sharp, analyzing me. "I only have 10 minutes, Mrs. Okafor," he said, his voice deep and flat. "Okafor Legacy Holdings, dormant company, agricultural assets. What is the problem?" I sat down without being invited. "The problem, Mr. Siku," I said, "is that this company just woke up. The assets are large, but I don't know anything about pecans, peaches, or how to run it. And I have another problem that must be solved." "What problem?" "My ex-husband, a developer in Atlanta. His name is Kwesi. He demands a share. He doesn't know about this." Siku raised an eyebrow. "This is interesting. What do you want from me?" "I want you to restructure this company from the ground up. Audit everything. Make it an active, modern, profitable company. And I want you to be my personal advisor," I said. "I want to know how to use this power." Siku stared at me for a long time. "I am expensive, ma'am." "I know. I don't deal with personal dramas." "I'm not asking you to deal with drama. I'm asking you to teach me how to win a business war." Siku smiled slightly, his first smile. "When do we start?" "Yesterday," I replied. 2 weeks passed. Atlanta didn't know what was happening in those offices. Sika's small team and I worked 20 hours a day. We dissected Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. Turns out the assets were greater than estimated. My father hadn't just bought land. He'd bought small shares in various agri-food companies whose value had now skyrocketed. I learned fast. I devoured financial reports, studied property laws, learned the fundamentals of agribusiness management. Sika watched me. This client was different. She didn't panic. She wasn't greedy. She was focused. She was like a dry sponge, absorbing all the information. During those 2 weeks, I also transformed myself. I cut my long, dull hair into a short, firm, elegant bob. I threw out all my old clothes with the help of a personal shopper Siku hired. My closet now held tailored suits, silk blouses, and simple but classy dresses in strong colors: black, navy blue, burgundy. Reading glasses replaced my contacts. High heels replaced sandals. But the biggest change was in my eyes. There was no fear anymore, only cold calculation. "Are you ready to get back in the ring, ma'am?" Sika asked one afternoon. "I'm ready," I said. We didn't go to the hotel. Under my orders, Sika's team had worked discreetly in Atlanta. They bought an old mansion in Cascade Heights. Not a flashy new McMansion like Kwesi liked, but a historic, solid, elegant building that emanated an aura of old black power and generational wealth. The house was paid for in cash. When I walked into my new mansion, I was no longer the Zelika who was kicked out of the apartment lobby. I was Miss Zelika Okafor, CEO of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. Meanwhile, in the penthouse at the Sovereign, Kwesi and Anaya's life was at its peak. "This project, babe," Kwesi exclaimed one night, pouring champagne for Anaya. "This is going to change the game." He felt invincible. His construction business was frantically looking for new projects. "I have inside info," his eyes shone with greed. "There's prime land, thousands of acres down in South Georgia coming onto the market. They say it's going to be opened up for a luxury development. I have to get the construction contract." Anaya, busy taking selfies with her champagne glass, was only half listening. "Oh yeah. Great. That means our wedding can be in Turks and Caicos, right? And I want that new Birkin bag, the crocodile skin one." "Sure, whatever for you," Kwesi said. But deep down he was a little anxious to get such a big project. He needed a huge capital injection. Investors. His company honestly had quite a few debts here and there to finance their lavish lifestyle. "I'll organize meetings with all possible investors," Kwesi murmured. A few days later, Kwesi heard rumors in Atlanta business circles. "Did you hear?" an acquaintance said. "There's a new player in town investing like crazy. Bought a mansion in Cascade. Kish. Brought in a consultant from Midtown, that guy Siku, the cleaner." "What's the name?" Kwesi asked, intrigued. "No one knows exactly. Very secretive. But the company name is old. Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. Ring a bell?" Kwesi shook his head. Old-fashioned name. Probably some old money folks just realizing their assets. This is the opportunity. He immediately ordered his secretary to contact Okafor Legacy Holdings. He had to present his proposal for the development in South Georgia. He didn't know that the lands he coveted were the very ones listed in my father's deed. The invitation arrived. Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC was interested in hearing the proposal from Kwesi's company. The meeting would be held at the CEO's residence in the Cascade Mansion. Kwesi felt on top of the world. Look, Anea, they invited me. Surely they've heard of my reputation. That morning, Kwesi put on his most expensive suit. He rehearsed his presentation in front of the mirror. He was determined to dazzle this mysterious investor. He arrived at the mansion. The high wrought iron gate opened slowly. He walked into a majestic but cool foyer. Marble walls, antique, heavy furniture. An assistant with a formal look received him. Good afternoon, Mr. Kwesi. Please wait in the meeting room. Our CEO will join you shortly. Kwesi was led to a grand library transformed into a meeting room. On one side, a very long mahogany table. On the other, tall windows overlooked a manicured garden. At the end of the table sat a man looking at his laptop. Kwesi thought he was the boss. Good afternoon, sir. Siku looked up. His eyes were cold. I am Siku, consultant. Sit down, Mr. Kwesi. Our CEO is on the way. Kwesi sat down. He started to feel a little nervous. The atmosphere in this room was too heavy, too silent. 5 minutes passed like an hour. Suddenly, the double doors behind Kwesi opened. He didn't turn around. He heard the sound of footsteps. High heels. Click, clack, clack. A firm, rhythmic sound on the marble floor. Sorry for the wait. A voice. A familiar voice, but impossible. Kwesi froze. He knew that voice, but this voice was cold, full of authority. He turned his chair slowly. The footsteps stopped at the other end of the table. There I stood. My hair perfectly styled in a short bob. I was wearing a navy blue power dress that wrapped my body perfectly. Reading glasses rested on my nose. My face was subtly, professionally made up. I looked at Kwesi. There was no hatred in my eyes. No love. Nothing. Just the look of a superior at a subordinate. Kwesi's mouth opened but no sound came out. I sat calmly in the head chair. Siku stood beside me, handing me a tablet. I looked at Kwesi, then smiled. The smile didn't reach my eyes. Good afternoon, Mr. Kwesi, I said, my clear voice filling the room. I am Zelika Okafor, CEO of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. I leaned in a little. Please begin your presentation. I heard you are very interested in the lands in South Georgia. I paused, letting my words sink in. Casually, I continued in a relaxed tone. Coincidentally, all the land you covet for your ambitious project belongs to me. Silence. The silence in the meeting room was so thick that Kwesi could hear his own heart beating in his ears. A joke? This had to be a joke. But my eyes, the eyes that used to look at him with adoration, were now as cold as the marble beneath his feet. Zelika, Kwesi managed to emit a sound. His voice cracked. This is impossible. 2,000 acres. Okafor Legacy. Where did you get the money? I leaned back in my chair, not answering that question. I turned to Siku. Mr. Siku, what do you think of the initial proposal from Kwesi Constructions Incorporated? Siku, who had been silent like a shadow, spoke. His voice was flat and lethal. Conceptually ambitious, but financially very weak. Mr. Kwesi, your proposal does not include adequate risk analysis, and your profit projections are too optimistic. Kwesi felt as if he had been doused with ice water. He came to dazzle a foolish investor. Instead, he was being audited. Wait, Kwesi said, trying to control himself. His arrogance started to return, looking for logical explanations. Zelika must just be a puppet. This man Siku is the one in control. Zelika just got lucky. Zel, he said, trying a softer tone, the tone he used to cajole me. I don't know what happened to you, but this is big business. Maybe we can collaborate. I mean, you know me. I'm the best builder in Atlanta. I smiled slightly. A cold laugh. Oh, I know you very well, Kwesi. Then I stood up. I don't have more time, but I will give you a chance. Hope instantly lit up in Kwesi's eyes. My team, I looked at Siku, will do due diligence. A complete life diligence of your company. We need to see your accounting, your list of assets, and your list of debts. We will not invest a single dollar in a company that is not transparent. Kwesi hesitated. Opening his books would be a disaster. His company wasn't as healthy as he bragged. Why does it have to be so complicated? He asked. It's me, Zelka, your ex-husband. Precisely for that reason, Mr. Kwesi, Siku interrupted. We must be professional. Take it or leave it. If you reject the audit, we will consider your proposal void and offer our land to another developer. I heard your competition from Buckhead is very interested. That was a threat. Kwesi was cornered. If he withdrew, he lost the biggest project of his life. If he moved forward, he had to open his wounds. Fine, Kwesi said, forced. Fine. Audit. I'm not hiding anything. I nodded. Mr. Siku's team will contact you. Good afternoon. Kwesi was escorted out of the mansion. He got into his car with his knees shaking. He didn't know if he had just escaped danger or if he had just walked into a trap. What he knew was that the Zelika he just met scared him. He returned to the apartment at the Sovereign in a mess. Babe, Anaya greeted, jumping off the sofa in new silk lingerie. How did it go? Are we rich yet? When can we start planning the wedding in Turks? Shut up for a second, Anaya. I'm thinking. Kwesi shouted, throwing his jacket on the floor. Anaya was surprised. Hey, why are you yelling at me? Kwesi paced back and forth. The investor is complicated. It's really messed up. What do you mean complicated? Did they say no? Anaya asked, her tone anxious. No, not yet. But my God, you're not going to believe this. Kwesi pulled at his hair. The investor, the CEO, is Zelika. Anaya froze. What? Zelika? The homeless woman. She's not homeless anymore. Kwesi growled. She is different. She has a mansion in Cascade. She has a financial consultant. She owns the land. Anaya's beautiful face went pale. This was the worst-case scenario. Not because she loved Kwesi, but because her status, her luxuries, and her future depended on Kwesi's wallet. And now that wallet was threatened by the woman she despised the most. Surely it's a bluff. Anaya shrieked. She can't be that smart. Surely she hooked up with some old rich man. Yes, that's it. She's a kept woman. Kwesi wasn't listening. She wants to audit my company. What am I going to do? Anaya's panic morphed into anger. That woman. Who does she think she is? Coming back and ruining everything. I'll handle her. Handle what? Don't get involved. But Anaya already had a plan. She knew where Atlanta's new black elite gathered. She would find Zelika. She would humiliate that woman in public, reminding her who she really was. A few days later, Anaya, through a friend, discovered my location. A luxury boutique cafe in Buckhead. Anaya arrived in full force. Designer clothes from the latest season, a flashy bag, heavy makeup. She saw me sitting alone, reading documents on a tablet, sipping tea. Anaya slammed her hand directly on the table, making noise on purpose. Well. Look who's here, Anaya said, her voice projected so everyone could hear. Mrs. Zelika Okafor, right? Moving fast, huh? Climbing classes from being thrown out in the lobby to sitting in an expensive cafe. I looked up slowly, looked at Anaya, and then went back to my tablet. I said nothing. That indifference made Anaya even angrier. Hey, I'm talking to you. Here. Don't play deaf. Who do you think you are, huh? You're bothering Kwesi. Stay away from him. He is mine now. I sighed. I put down my tablet. Yours? I asked. My voice was calm. Things that are owned are usually objects. Miss Anaya isn't human. Don't give me lessons. I know your game. You came back to steal Kwesi from me again, right? Because he's successful. I let out a little chuckle. A cold laugh. Steal Kwesi, Miss Anaya? Why would I bother picking up the trash I already threw out? Anaya's face turned red. I stood up. Now I was at eye level with Anaya. Listen well, I whispered, but the intensity made Anaya take a step back. I'm not interested in Kwesi. I'm interested in his company. And if you want to know, I looked at the flashy paper Anaya was holding. Kwesi came to me begging me to finance his project. He isn't even capable of paying for your lifestyle without begging me. Liar. Ah, yes. I pulled out a black credit card, the Centurion card, from my wallet. A card made of metal. Today I feel generous. I called the waiter. The check please. And also for this lady I'm paying. I looked at Anea. Consider it charity. You need it more than I do. I grabbed my tablet and walked out, leaving Anea frozen in shame, a spectacle for the entire cafe. The bait had worked. Kwesi was humiliated by the urgent need to hand over all his financial documents to Siku's team. Meanwhile, I had publicly humiliated Anea. Siku's team gathered in the war room of the Cascade Mansion. This isn't a company, Miss Celica, Siku said, pointing at the large screen showing the cash flow of Kwesi Constructions Incorporated. This is a house of cards built on air. Explain, I said. First, Siku said, materials. He charges his clients for grade A cement, but reports show he buys grade C. He takes a 40% profit just on material embezzlement. This is illegal and dangerous. I remembered a small bridge project Kwesi bragged about. My stomach turned. Second, debts. Siku continued. He doesn't have bank debts. He's too smart for that. He gets into debt with small suppliers. Sand pits, local hardware stores, small equipment rental companies. He delays their payments for months, even years, knowing they don't have the legal strength to fight him. The list of supplier names appeared on the screen. I recognized some names. And third, taxes. Siku said, he keeps 2 books, one for himself, one for the IRS. His tax evasion is massive. I sat in silence. The man I was married to for 10 years, the man I cared for when he was sick, turned out to be a scammer, an extortionist, and a thief. Good, I said, my voice steady. Siku looked at me. Good. Yes. This gives us a weapon. What is the next step? Kwesi is only focused on us, on those 2,000 acres, Siku explained. He doesn't realize that his debt to the small suppliers is his weakest point. I want you, Celica. He paused, thinking about the strategy. I want you to buy all that debt. Siku smiled. I assume so. I have prepared 3 shell companies in Delaware. We will buy every outstanding invoice from those suppliers. We will pay cash. The suppliers will be happy, I said. They will be very happy, Siku added, and Kwesi will know nothing. He will only feel relieved because the collectors will stop calling him. He will think we are going to give him capital. How much time? I asked. Give me a week. In a week, Kwesi Constructions Incorporated will no longer owe anything to the small merchants, Siku said. He will owe me. Exactly as Siku predicted. Kwesi suddenly felt his life was easier. The calls from angry suppliers stopped. He considered this a good sign. He thought the news that he was going to collaborate with Okafor Legacy Holdings had scared the suppliers off. He was very wrong. Feeling the pressure decrease, Kwesi decided it was time to take the last step. He had to secure me. Not on a business level but personally. He knew the Celica of before was weak, forgiving, and still loved him. He sent a bouquet of white roses, my favorites back then, to the Cascade Mansion with a note. I know I was wrong. Let's talk like old times. Dinner at our usual spot. I almost threw the flowers away but Siku stopped me. Go, he said. Let him dig his own grave deeper. That night I went to the upscale restaurant where Kwesi had proposed to me. He was already waiting, impeccable. He ordered the most expensive wine. Zell, he said, taking my hand across the table. I allowed it. My skin felt cold. I ask for your forgiveness. I just looked at him, waiting. I know I was very wrong, Kwesi continued, his eyes getting misty. His performance was perfect. Anea, she is just a toy. I was pressured. Zell, business is hard. And you? You were busy with your mother. I felt lonely. So, was it my fault? Asked, my voice calm. No, it was my fault. Kwesi rushed to correct himself. I was blind. I didn't see the diamond I had until I saw you in the meeting room the other day. I realized. Realized what? How fantastic you are. We can be the best team, Zell. Kwesi leaned in. I've already left Anea. She's already out of the apartment. It was a lie. Anea was shopping with his credit card at that very moment. We can start over, Kwesi whispered. We will dominate Atlanta. You with your land, me with my expertise. Forget Siku. You don't need him. You only need me. I withdrew my hand slowly. Your seduction is good, Kwesi. Better than your business presentation, I said coldly. Kwesi was surprised. Maybe you're right, I continued as if thinking. Kwesi had hope again. We really have to fix this, but I can't mix personal and business. Sure. Let's finish the business matter first, I said. I've already seen the result of your audit. And? Kwesi asked anxiously. And we need to talk seriously, I said. Tomorrow in my office at 10 a.m. Bring your lawyer if necessary. Once that is over, then we can talk about us. I stood up, leaving Kwesi with a bottle of expensive wine and a sly smile, thinking he had just won. At 10 a.m. sharp the next day in the meeting room of my mansion, Kwesi arrived alone without a lawyer. He brought another bouquet of roses. He was very confident. He thought this meeting was just a formality before we reconciled. He entered the room. The atmosphere was far from romantic. I was already seated in the head chair. Sika stood beside me. On the long mahogany table there were no coffee cups, but stacks of thick legal documents. "Zell babe," Kwesi greeted, trying to break the ice with the flowers. "Sit down, Kwesi," I said, my voice cutting. Kwesi sat, his smile faltered. "Let's get to the point," I said. Mr. Siku stepped forward, placing a binder of documents in front of Kwesi. "Mr. Kwesi, this is the list of debts of Kwesi Constructions Incorporated," Siku said. "To Garcia Aggregates, a total of $100,000. To Bolt Hardware, $50,000. To Iberian Machinery, $200,000, and so on. The total verified debt with 12 suppliers is $500,000. Kwesi's face paled. "What does this mean?" "I'm negotiating with them." "They no longer need negotiation," I interrupted. "Because everyone has been paid in full." Kwesi looked at me confused. "Paid by whom?" I pointed to myself. "By me." Siku pushed a second binder of documents. "Through 3 investment companies affiliated with Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC, we have acquired or bought all those outstanding invoices. Copies of the deed assignment are in front of you." Kwesi opened the first sheet. His heart seemed to stop. "In other words, Kwesi." I leaned in, looking directly into the eyes of the man who had destroyed me. "Your company no longer owes anything to those small merchants." I paused, letting the silence fill the room. "Your company now owes me." "Me?" Kwesi couldn't breathe. I can pay in installments." "Oh, of course," I said, "but I'm not interested in doing business with you, and I'm not interested in getting back with you. I want my money back." I slapped the documents in front of Kwesi. "According to the assignment clause, this debt is due. No. You have 24 hours to liquidate those $500,000 in cash." 24 hours. That's impossible. No one has that much cash. Kwesi shouted, finally panicking. "I do," I replied coldly. You set a trap for me." "A trap?" I stood up. "I am only claiming what is my right, just like you kept all my rights before. If in 24 hours you cannot pay..." I put the third binder of documents on the stack. "Our legal team will immediately register the lien on that penthouse in the Sovereign, on your office, and on all your heavy machinery. Good morning, Mr. Kwesi." 24 hours. Kwesi never knew how short 24 hours were. After leaving my mansion, he didn't go back to the apartment. He panicked. He spent the first hour driving aimlessly, cursing me, Siku, and the whole world. The second hour he started calling his bank manager. "I need a loan of $500,000. The collateral is my project in South Georgia." The bank manager laughed on the other end. "Kwesi, don't joke. You don't have that project secured yet. Besides, your credit limit is already tapped out to finance. Well, you know." Kwesi hung up abruptly. From the 3rd to the 10th hour he called all his business contacts, every friend he had invited for expensive wine, every small official he had tipped. The answer was the same: "Oof, tough, Kwesi," or "Sorry, I'm out of town," or they just didn't pick up the phone. The news of his downfall, which somehow started at the mansion meeting, spread faster than fire. Hour 11. In his desperation he returned to the penthouse. Anea was trying on a new dress she had just bought that afternoon. "How does it look, babe?" "Nice, right?" "Sell it," Kwesi shouted. "What?" "Sell it all," Kwesi shouted, his eyes red. "Sell your bags. Sell your jewelry. We are bankrupt." Anea's face paled. "These are gifts, not investments. Are you crazy?" "Zelika set a trap for me," Kwesi raved. "That snake woman bought my debts. She gave us 24 hours to pay $500,000. Anea didn't care about the debt. She only heard one thing: the money ran out. At 10 a.m. sharp the next day, exactly 24 hours later, the doorbell of his penthouse rang. Kwesi, who hadn't slept all night, opened it. He hoped it was me coming to cancel my threat after softening up. In front of the door was Siku, calm as a statue. Behind him, two well-dressed lawyers and a man in an official uniform holding a thick folder, the sheriff's deputy. "Your time is up, Mr. Kwesi," Siku said flatly. "Wait. I need time." "Time is a luxury you didn't give Zelika," Siku interrupted. He took a step forward. "According to the order from the Fulton County Superior Court, we are here to execute the lien on this asset." The deputy began putting seizure stickers on the wall of the apartment foyer. "No. This is my house," Kwesi shouted. "Technically, it is the collateral for your debt to my client," the lawyer corrected. "You and this young lady," he looked at Anea with disdain, "are required to vacate these premises in 1 hour. Take your essential personal effects." 1 hour later, the scene in the lobby of the Sovereign turned into a spectacle. Kwesi, the same man who 10 years ago felt like the king of the place, was escorted out by security guards. The same guards who threw me out before. Anea followed him, crying hysterically, dragging 2 suitcases full of her designer bags. Kwesi wasn't just bankrupt on paper. Now he was literally on the street, back at the ground zero he created for me on the hot sidewalk in front of the lobby. The real drama had just begun. "This is all your fault," Anea shrieked, hitting Kwesi's chest. "You said you were rich. You said you were great. Turns out you're just a scammer." Kwesi, who had already lost everything, unloaded his remaining anger on the only target left. "My fault? Your fault. Who asked for Birkin bags every week? Who asked for vacations in Turks? You made me spend parasite." Parasite. Anea's jaw dropped. Their fight was so loud it became a public spectacle. They didn't realize that across the street, someone was recording it with their phone. "I didn't sign up for this," Anea shrieked. "I'm done." She dragged her suitcase, trying to hail a cab. "Where are you going?" "You won't survive without me," Kwesi mocked. "You'll see." Anea went to a luxury hotel, trying to book a room with the unlimited credit card Kwesi gave her. "I'm sorry, ma'am, declined," the receptionist said coldly. She tried another card. Declined. All declined. Kwesi had blocked everything. Where was the bank? Anea panicked. She called her high society friends. "Girl, I have a problem." The phone cut off. She called another. "Oh, I have bad signal." The phone turned off. He didn't know. "I through my new network didn't need to do anything." Siku just had to leak Kwesi's audit report to a few key people. The news that Kwesi was a scammer and Anea, the side chick linked to a bankrupt scammer, had spread through all the group chats of Atlanta's elite. He was toxic. No one wanted to associate with her. That night, the recording of her fight with Kwesi in front of the building went viral on local gossip blogs. Her beautiful face was now associated with bankruptcy and cheap drama. Her modeling career was finished. The doors of the high-class world closed. Anea, who once felt on top of the world, now had to sell her authentic bags, and some fakes she just discovered Kwesi gave her, one by one, just to survive. Back to the obscurity she hated so much. 2 weeks after the seizure, I sat with Siku in the meeting room of my mansion. The mahogany table was now full of blueprints. "All assets of Kwesi Constructions Incorporated have been liquidated," Siku informed. "His office, his equipment, and the penthouse. Everything is enough to cover the debt of $500,000, plus interest and legal costs." "Good," I said. "What will we do with the penthouse?" "We can sell it." I shook my head. "No. Sell all the luxury furniture inside. Then give the keys to Mr. Zabari at the Heritage Bank. Tell them to give it as a bonus gift to Kofi." Siku raised an eyebrow, a little surprised by the touch of cynical humor. "Kofi, the bank teller? Yes, he deserves it. He was the first one to help me." "Very well, ma'am. And the 2,000 acres? Will we proceed with the luxury development plan?" I stood up, walking toward the large window. Looking at the garden, I remembered my father's letter. "Build your own kingdom." Kwesi wanted to build a palace for the rich that people like me could only see from outside the gate, I said. I will do the opposite. I went back to the table and pointed at the new blueprints. I am going to build homes. Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC would use the first 250 acres to build dignified subsidized housing, complete with a school and a small medical center. Ma'am? Siku asked, now truly interested. For the workers in our pecan groves and for the owners of the small suppliers who were almost destroyed by Kwesi. They will have priority and special discounts. And the machinery seized from Kwesi? We will use it to build those houses, I said with a faint smile. It's poetic justice. Siku looked at me with undisguised admiration. Not only that, I added, on another 25 acres I want to build the Okafor Center, a training facility for modern agribusiness and small business management. I want people like my father to have the chance to succeed without having to hide. I wasn't just getting revenge. I was building a legacy. I was done with Kwesi, but the law wasn't. Kwesi, now living poorly in a shared apartment on the outskirts, thought the worst had passed. He thought that after losing everything to me he was free. One afternoon while eating instant noodles there was a knock on the door. Police, Mr. Kwesi. You are under arrest. What is this now? My debt to Zelika is paid. This isn't about debts, the officer said. This is about the use of substandard materials on the bridge project in Macon and tax fraud. Kwesi froze. How did they know? He didn't know that Siku, on behalf of a client concerned about public safety, had anonymously sent copies of Kwesi's double ledger and the lab results of the poor quality cement to the district attorney and the IRS. He built a bridge that could collapse, Siku had said at the time. It could kill people. This is no longer about him and me. It's about justice. The news of Kwesi's arrest was a local headline: Elite developer falls, alleged corruption and fraud. In my mansion I watched the news on the large TV. I looked at Kwesi's face, gaunt and angry, being escorted away. I felt nothing. Neither anger nor satisfaction. That chapter was finally closed. I turned off the TV. 1 year later, Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC was no longer a dormant and mysterious company. The company was now one of the new economic pillars in the South. I had revolutionized our pecan groves with sustainable practices, raising wages for workers and building modern facilities. The Okafor Training Center had already opened and its first class had graduated. The first phase of subsidized housing was full. I was no longer called Madam Director with a tone of fear. The old workers called me Miss Zelika, or Tendai's daughter, with respect and affection. I stood on a hill on our farm, looking at the green expanse under the afternoon sun. I was no longer the disheveled woman in the lobby of the Sovereign, nor the cold woman in the meeting room. I was Zelika. Complete. Footsteps behind me. Zelika, the view is beautiful, Siku said. He was no longer wearing a formal suit, just a casual linen shirt. He spent more time in the country than in Atlanta now. Yes, I said, smiling a sincere smile. My father called this an anchor. Turns out this anchor can be used to build many things. You have built your kingdom, Zelika, Siku said. I corrected. We built it. Siku smiled. My team in Atlanta keeps asking when I'm coming back. Seems I need to give them an answer. And what is your answer? I asked, looking at him. Siku didn't answer with words. He took a step forward, looked at me and then held out his hand. I am no longer needed as a consultant. The cleaner, they said. No, I replied, accepting his hand. The grip was firm. Now I need you as a partner. We stood there watching the sunset over our kingdom. A kingdom that wasn't built on greed or lies, but on the rubble of betrayal, and raised again with the foundations of justice and a new legacy. Tell me, what would you have done if you found yourself in my shoes? Let me know in the comments below.